World leaders at Akwaaba Process meeting agreed to strengthen cooperation in fight against global terrorism. Senate makes push to tackle high rate of sickle cell disorder in the country. Information Minister inspects projects in Maiduguri, reassures that no part of the country will be left behind. Hello and welcome to the news at 11 on NTNS 24, live in Abuja. I am Mina Daniels. Countries of the world at the Akwaaba Process meeting have agreed to strengthen cooperation for greater effectiveness in the fight against terrorism in parts of the world. This was at the recently concluded meeting of heads of state and government in Rome, Italy's capital. State House correspondent Musbah Danwahab reports.
President Bola Tinubu set out for the Akwaaba Process meeting of heads of state and governments, an initiative of King Abdullah II of Jordan on countering terrorism. This year, a crucial matter concerning West Africa was on the table for leaders of the world to dissect, or perhaps to lend support, and the attention of Nigeria, constituting about 1/3 of a sub-region, was highly needed at a high-level meeting. The rising territory of terrorism in West Africa, including how terrorist groups are using the internet and social media to spread their message and recruit new members, were of major concern here. The closed meeting also discussed how to stop the flow of money and weapons to the groups.
The major takeaway is the fact that there is a multinational cooperation in fighting against terrorism. All nations believe that if one country is sick because of terrorism, in no time it will affect the other country. So the countries around the world believe that together we have to work and fight terrorism. So it's a very good, robust meeting that discuss especially the terrorism in West Africa, and the countries resolve really to work together and provide both policy and solutions for multinational terrorism fight. And I believe it is very, very good for our country being the leader in West Africa and Sahel.
The Nigerian Defense Minister, Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, also assessed the effectiveness of the meeting in the last 10 years of the initiative.
This meeting really cut down bureaucracy, and leaders meet freely and openly and have very frank and open discussions on ways and means to fight terrorism in the world. And the focus now is West Africa, and I believe Nigeria stands to gain a lot from the cooperations that this meeting brings about.
On the sidelines of a high-level meeting, President Bola Tinubu also met separately with the Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, and King Abdullah II of Jordan on bilateral matters. In Rome, Musbah Danwahab, NT News.
The International Monetary Fund says global debt levels are on the rise once again and could surpass 100% of global GDP by 2029. Moplang Dakong reports that based on the IMF's fiscal monitoring team, there is no cause for alarm for Nigeria, as ongoing economic reforms are helping to keep fiscal risks under control.
According to the fund, the more than 100% debt to GDP will be driven by large countries such as China and France and other G20 members, and warns that policymakers must act now to keep debt under control and reduce risks.
While we do recognize that the fiscal equation is very hard to square politically, the time to prepare is now. Improving growth prospects and enhancing public trust in government help balance the fiscal equation. Fiscal policy, structural policy. Deploying fiscal structural policy improves growth prospects and reinforces complementarities and synergies with the private sector.
For countries like Nigeria, the IMF recommends building buffers both on the revenue and the spending sides in order to strengthen resilience.
Our policies advice has been both on the revenue side as well on the spending side. I think on the revenue side there is a scope to improve revenue through reform to tax administrations to increase revenue mobilization in a way that doesn't hurt growth. For example, tax reform, and this actually Nigeria has done quite a lot in the past years. I think like many of the laws that have been passed have tried to streamline tax code, tax expenditure has been reduced, the burden for business and low-income households has declined in terms of taxation. So these are policies that goes in the right directions.
The report also notes that fiscal risks and public debts around the world are more extensive than they appear, and they urge governments to focus on quality of spending, particularly in areas like infrastructure, which are critical for sustainable growth. From Washington, D.C., Muplang Yakok, NTA News.
The governing All Progressives Congress says the World and International Monetary Fund's outstanding assessment of Nigeria's Economic Performance Index under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was heartwarming and a step in the right direction. A statement signed by its National Publicity Secretary, Felix Morka, said the results of the steady economic progress, which is on non-oil driven, have manifested in poverty reduction, employment generation, and the solving of security challenges at various levels of national life. The statement added that the economy is on a remarkable growth trajectory, with Q2 2025 GDP growth rising to 4.23%, outstripping the International Monetary Fund's initial projection of 3.4%, and the impressive performance of President Tinubu's reforms have earned the IMF's endorsement. Morka said with its upgrading of Nigeria's growth forecast to 3.9% in 2025 and 4.2% in 2026, the World Bank's latest report further validates the trend, projecting Nigeria's growth acceleration from 4.2% in 2025 to 4.4% in 2027, driven by the rapid expansion of services, agriculture, and other non-oil sectors. The Senate is making a push to tackle the high rate of sickle cell disorder in the country as it seeks the establishment of sickle cell disorder research and therapy centers in the 6 geopolitical zones. The aim of the proposed legislation, sponsored by Senator Sunday Katong, is to improve data collection and assistance for patients. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on this and other considerations at Wednesday's plenary.
Nigeria is identified as the epicenter of sickle cell disorder, as half of the annual 300,000 newborns with sickle cell are in Nigeria.
Provide facilities for diagnosis, curative, rehabilitative services for sickle cell disorder.
People become sickle cell patients because of maybe ignorance of their parents.
Avoidance is also supposed to be part of the reason. But I say no. You cannot legislate on love.
There should be mass sensitization and information given out by the relevant authorities to Nigerians.
Setting up centers that will cater for the cure of the disease is something that is very germane.
We'll try to find succor for those who are suffering from this unfortunate ailment.
The bill passed second reading and referred to the Senate Committee on Health. Senate also passed at second reading bill to regulate factoring services sponsored by Senator Asuquo Ekpenyong.
It provides for the licensing and supervision of finance companies engaged in factoring, ensures that costs and fees are disclosed in plain language, and makes invoice transfers legally enforceable to avoid disputes.
If we do not regulate how invoices are dumped by different organizations, then it means whether we factorize, the value for which we want to achieve will be misdirected.
Senate has urged the federal government to fast-track completion of Aingba Dekina Shintaku Road in Kogi East in view of its importance to livelihood of communities, as canvassed by Senator Issa Jibrin.
In the 1980s, when the Aingba Dekina Shintaku Road was motorable, commuters used to spend an average of 40 minutes on the road, but now spends over 4 hours due to the deplorable condition of the road.
This motion is timely, especially against the background of the fact that Mr. President will soon present the 2026 budget.
In another resolution, Senate is set to investigate safety issues at airports across Nigeria, sequel to a motion from Senator Buhari Abdul Fatai.
Aviation safety is vital to national security, economic growth, international reputation, as Nigeria aspires to remain the hub of air transport in Africa.
Wednesday's plenary featured the confirmation of appointees for the Nigerian Law Reform Commission and Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Agency. The lawmakers paid tribute at plenary to late Senator Mohammed Mana and late Solomon Arase as they observed a minute's silence in their honor. Senate has set Thursday, October 16th, for the screening of Professor Joash Amopiton for confirmation as the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
This is the news at 11 on NTNS 24. We pause here for some messages. We'll be right back with more.
Feel the power of precision, engineered to perfection. Every component is crafted with care, and each design is meticulously tested. From concept to creation, our engineers push the boundaries of technology, seamlessly blending performance and sustainability with a deep commitment to African ingenuity. Introducing the CNG Boss, a remarkable achievement in engineering designed to operate on compressed natural gas, a cleaner and more sustainable fuel alternative. At Innocent Vehicles, we proudly lead the way in creating greener mobility across Africa. And it doesn't stop there. From SUVs to sedans, spacious buses to electric cars, Innocent offers a wide range of models designed to meet every need. Innocent Vehicle, the pride of African roads.
And the National Productivity Order of Merit Award goes to...
The only tomato paste manufacturer to win the National Productivity Order of Merit Award by the Federal Government of Nigeria, endorsed by the Association of Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria. This is an evidence of 100% natural goodness, great quality and great taste. So eat healthy to live longer. Use Arisco tomato paste and products.
100% natural tomato. Namunde. Better food na correct.
Buy now and enjoy up to 20% discount.
Arisco tomato paste, the taste of Nigeria.
This is NTA News 24.
Thanks for joining us again. The House of Representatives has resolved to get to the bottom of the abandoned modular refinery project in Brass, Bayelsa State, after a whopping $35 million was reportedly invested in it. Lawmakers insist that public funds deployed for the project, which is under the purview of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, must be accounted for. National Assembly correspondent Mitai Pen reports.
A matter of urgent national importance raised by Representative Billy Osawaru revealed the circumstances surrounding the moribund state of the modular refinery project in Bayelsa State.
Sometime in 2020, the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, otherwise known as NCDMB, invested the sum of $35 million in Atlantic International Refinery and Petrochemical Limited, a modular refinery to be located in Brass. Despite this huge investment, which is more than 50 billion naira today, and enough to fund fundamental components of the national budget, the proposed modular refinery was never set up.
It appears today that we're a nation that will not only eat our profit, but will also eat her investment.
The House mandated its committees on petroleum resources, midstream and downstream to investigate what went wrong with the proposed modular refinery project. Meanwhile, the House is set to probe alleged local content violations by oil and gas companies in Imo State to the detriment of host communities.
Failure to establish functional operational offices within the areas of operation in Imo State, as mandated by Section 3J of the Act 2010, thereby denying the state by valuable economic activity and employment. To urge the oil and gas companies operating in Imo State to urgently comply with provisions of Nigerian oil and gas industry.
At a public hearing, lawmakers and aviation experts endorsed a proposed legislation seeking to establish the African Aviation and Aerospace University in Abuja.
We must ensure that the institution is not only a center of excellence, but also a model of integrity.
This momentous occasion underscores the federal government's commitment to developing our aviation sector,
support Nigeria's vision to become Africa's leading aviation training and innovation hub.
They are optimistic that the proposed aviation university will address shortage of manpower in the sector. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has reassured that no part of the country will be left out in the transformative drive of the renewed Hope administration. This was when he inspected ongoing and completed federal road projects in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. Salihu Abdullahi Wanara reports.
Once upon a time, when Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, and environs have been in darkness due to the activities of Boko Haram for years, the political will of the APC-led government had made that a history with the installation of 15 megawatts Maiduguri emergency power plant and the solar power plant that has been generating uninterrupted power to the University of Maiduguri and the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital.
In the past, they used to pay about 200 million. Now, every month. Now they pay only about 30 million naira to the electricity suppliers with the provision of this. So we thank the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has made this happen. It's not just about saving money. It is also about the fact that the university now is fully powered, both the university and the teaching hospital. So this will aid research. It will also facilitate treatment of patients who are in the hospital. And the Vice Chancellor is saying that they are guarding this very, very jealously because this is an unprecedented kind of facility provided by government.
Indeed, you can call it sea of panels, 24,000 panels of solar power here in Maiduguri. With these, socio-economic activities are steady within and around Maiduguri. In Maiduguri, Salihu Abdullahi Wanara, NTA News.
The federal government has again reaffirmed this commitment to partner with state governments to boost manpower at the grassroots through the provision of quality education. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, gave this assurance during an inspection of modern schools built by the Governor Babagana Omar Zulum administration in Borno State. Salihu Abdullahi Wanara again reports.
With 104 of these completed and 35 under construction across Borno State, this is an aggressive war against illiteracy in northern part of Nigeria, particularly in Borno State.
This is only possible because there is focus, there is determination, but above all, there is also the support of the federal government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The collaboration that the President is doing with the subnationals is helping to drive development across this country. And I think we need to recognize that, we need to salute that, we need to acknowledge this kind of collaboration for the betterment of our people, not just in Borno State, but all over the country.
The minister inspected the learning facilities and described the initiative as a game changer.
This is a good investment in the nation, a good investment in the future of our children. And we urge and we know that other governments are emulating this.
The minister and his entourage, including members of the federal government communication team and heads of agencies under the Ministry of Information and National Orientation, also visited other federal government projects across Maiduguri. In Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
And in furtherance of the federal government's commitment to improving public health and nutrition, national guidelines for public food procurement and services has been finalized. The policy is expected to promote access to safe, healthy, and locally sourced food in public institutions, including schools, hospitals, and correctional centers. Dennis Temple reports.
Goal of policies as the benchmark, at least setting the framework, is important for us to be able to execute any interventions.
The food served in Nigeria's public institutions, from schools to hospitals and custodial centers, is about to undergo a transformation. That is why this gathering is here today to finalize the guidelines for public food procurement. Led by the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning and supported by relevant stakeholders, the guidelines aim to ensure that food in public settings is nutritious, safe, and sourced from local producers.
If we have a guidance document that will help to guide the procurement of public food service, this will help so that those that we procure the food for can eat healthier food.
This is a policy guideline program that will be able to, as it has pulled out stakeholders, it will be able to see the light of day.
Stakeholders say it is a timely intervention, especially with rising food insecurity and malnutrition rates across the country.
We've done a lot of research, working with other partners to extract the information that has shaped or framed what this policy looks like. The next couple of days will also require validation, so we'll look at key elements of this policy and inputs from different stakeholders who are experts in the room.
If it's not, I'm not easily available for programs, activities, because I have so many things, but because of the importance, we are attached to this particular program. That is why I'm here.
The national guidelines, they say, mark a bold step towards food system reform in Nigeria, and with the inauguration of the technical working group, it is expected that the policy would not only improve public health, but also boost local agriculture and drive sustainable development. In Abuja, Dennis Temple, NTA News.
The federal government has warned unlicensed traditional medicine practitioners to desist from operating as traditional practitioners, stressing that any individual or group practicing traditional medicine without a license shall face the full weight of the law. Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isiaq Salako, gave the warning during a strategic meeting with the Modern Traditional Medicine Practitioners of Nigeria in collaboration with the Association of Nigerian Traditional Medicine in Abuja. The minister, who was represented by the Director, Traditional, Complementary and Alternative Medicine Department, Ministry of Health, Tao Titus, said the government is working very hard to regulate the use of traditional medicine, as most plants could pose serious health hazards if not properly guarded. He said not all plants are medicinal, and lack of differentiation between medicinal and other plants could be dangerous. The national president of the Modern Traditional Medicine Practitioners of Nigeria, Dr. Ibrahim Dada Nakowa, also appealed to individuals or groups to register with the Modern Traditional Medicine Practitioners of Nigeria, a recognized body under the Federal Ministry of Health, also warning that the association will no longer tolerate anyone who tarnishes its hard-earned reputation by administering plants that are harmful to the body. The Minister of Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, has told youths in Nigeria to be bold and step forward and accept the mantle of diplomacy and continental service. This was at the African Youth Diplomatic Conference, an induction of youth ambassadors for 2025 in Abuja. Reflecting on the theme, Empowering Youth Voices in African Diplomacy, the consensus at the conference was that African youths, which comprise 60% of the continent's population, are not just future leaders, but current assets and co-creators of Nigeria's destiny.
Call the critical need to harness the energy, creativity, and innovative spirit of Africa's youths in shaping diplomatic initiative. The themes align with the broader goals of promoting peace, stability, and sustainable development across the continent.
And that concludes the news at 11 on NTNS 24. Many thanks for watching. I am Mina Daniels.